Hey guys, welcome to Let's Get Personal. So, really quickly, if you watched my last video, which was like a couple weeks ago, I think, I talked about what I would do differently if I were to get married again. And so many people asked me, what would you do differently? And I said, well, I'll answer some of those questions in the coming weeks. So, one of the things that I would do differently is to have a conversation about finances. So, and welcome my co-host, Kason. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
He has a purpose, I promise. But when I got married, my ex-husband and I did have a prenup. So we did, on some level, talk about finances. The way we set up our finances was we both had our sole and separate property, and then we had our joint community property. And that's how it had always been. And it made our divorce, I guess, a little bit more seamless because we didn't argue too much about finances because it was already laid out. So this brings me to having those conversations. If I were to get married again, I would not share finances, and we would set it up, quite frankly, the same way. I have my soul and separate, he has his soul and separate, and then we share, community assets from the time that we get married. One of our new favorite shows, and Kason's been watching
Not one of our favorite shows. A show that we watch on free time.
We watch on our free time, right?
Yeah.
Is Ready to Love. Now, I did get messaged by a couple of producers asking me if I wanted to join that show or audition. No, thank you. My kids would be mortified if I were to do a dating show. But anyways, so we were watching it the other day, and we were binge watching it, and I think it was Naya was talking to, I forget the guy's name, but he's the radio host here in Houston on, I think, 102.
I think his name is.
I forget.
Yeah.
But the radio host here in Houston. And they started talking about finances. And he didn't give the response that she wanted. So she basically stopped liking him at that point. So I paused the show, and my kids and I had a discussion about finances and how they would prefer it when and if they get married at some point. So Kason, I think I've done a really good job raising my boys, but Kason, I asked Kason, I said, how would you handle...
No, you said if I made it in the NFL.
Okay, because Kason has big dreams to do what?
Play in the NFL.
Okay, so my question was, no, before, I said, no, I forget, but I asked him first, how do you think you want to handle finances if and when you get married? And what did you say?
Half and half.
Half and half? I was like, oh my gosh, I did so good. And then I said, well, okay, what if you live out your dreams and you play in the NFL? How would you expect to live your share finances? Or what is your plan?
Half and half.
And he said half and half. I was like, oh my gosh, I really taught my kids well. And why do you think it's important to share finances? Like all the bills, you want to split the bills evenly, right?
Yeah.
And why do you think that's important?
Because that makes me feel like I do like all the paying and the money's going out of my wallet.
So you want your girlfriend or your wife to contribute to the household expenses.
And it doesn't even have to be 50-50. It could be 70-30 or 60-40.
But she's got to contribute something.
At least something, yes.
So you want your woman, if you live out your dreams in the NFL, you want your woman to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
What if she says she doesn't want to work?
Well, then we'd have to talk about it. I mean, what else is there to do?
Well, what if she says, Kason, I don't want to work. You make all this money. Why do I need to work?
Well, you just gotta leave.
You got to cut her off?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she's a gold digger.
These are conversations that you should be having with your kids. I'm starting to have them just about life and dating and where things went wrong for me and what I could have done differently. But it was just an interesting conversation. And Kason, the other boys said that they should take care of all the bills. Caden and I think Braylon said they should, in case Caleb was asleep.
They don't know who Braylon is.
Okay, well, does it matter?
A friend of ours.
A friend of ours. They both said, and they're both 14, said that
A friend of Caden's.
they should take care of all the bills. they don't want to split it with their significant other. They want to handle everything. So it's just interesting perspectives, but that is one thing that I would, make sure to do differently, is that we actually have those conversations. We were young when my ex-husband and I, when I guess the time came for him to enter the NFL, I was 19, so he was like 22.
I saw the video.
But we never really had conversations about finances. So now going forward, it's important to have those conversations when you're dating and make sure that you and your partner are on the same page. So each week I will talk a little bit more about the different things that we would do, right, Kaysen? And I'm going to have a co-host. Kaysen is my new co-host, right?
Yep.
All right, guys, have a good Thursday.